G'day, I'm Molly and this is artVart. This is part 2 of episode 1. It's probably a good idea to go back and listen to part 1 first. I feel weird calling myself an artist. Do you
I know, same.
feel weird calling yourself an artist or a writer or...
Yeah, or not so much a writer, because a writer is like whatever, but like an author, or
Yeah.
referring to what I do as art. I'm always like, really, bitch? But, you know. What else am I going to call it? Trash? I could. But
I call it that too,
But
yeah.
some people might get offended and be like, don't call it that! And I have to like calm them down. So,
Yeah.
You know, it's not worth it. I'm just going to call it art and be done with it.
Yep. But a big one for like illustration and like whatever is traditional or digital. So when you write, do you ever scribble on paper? Obviously you put it out into the world on the internet, but you don't have like, I have like this little book that's just full of, I'll be middle of the night, oh my god, I've got an idea, and just quickly something, and then I'll go back to it somewhere else.
Calls from Spirited Away on the edge of the
Yeah.
notebook? Yes! I love that. No, I'm full on digital.
Yep.
I'm almost depressingly digital. I didn't really start to write till, and I'm dating myself, fuck it. I didn't really even start to write until my parents brought home our first computer and with a word processor, and I was like, oh, now I can like
Do stuff.
write down as fast as I can think.
Mm-hmm.
So that was actually the beginning of me actually writing at all, because I would just get very frustrated before that, like trying to write longhand the thoughts that were in my head.
Yep.
One time, and this isn't going to like apply, I'm trying to think if I've written anything down for any of my Plexa stuff. And I don't think I have. I think it was purely working on a computer, because I have this baby little Chromebook that like weighs less than a pound, and I literally take it everywhere. It's embarrassing. I've taken it to bars. Like at this point, it's like a security blanket. Like I just show up, and my friends are like, "You have that computer in your backpack, don't you?" And I'm like, "Yes, shut up." Like,
Don't judge me.
all my bags. It fits in the like. I don't leave the house with it, or I feel fucking naked. And I just, I'm always willing to like take it out. And I love Google Drive because I don't need an internet connection. I can just, boot up the document and it'll, save it and then upload it to the cloud. So the only time I ever really did any kind of writing longhand recently was when I was in college, and I was writing a fic while I was in rehearsal for a theatrical production. And during rehearsals, of course, I couldn't like access a computer or anything, and so I was like driven to like write in my notebook. But it really is sort of a last ditch type deal. Because in rehearsals, like you're there for hours and you're often doing like nothing.
Yeah.
So it was really depressing. I remember last time I was working a job where I was fairly new, and they were like, "Well, you're new, so we don't have anything to give you to do quite yet. So just look busy." And I was like, "What the fuck do you mean look busy?" So what I was doing every day was logging into my like separate email account and then writing like in my email draft. I was writing fics in my email draft. And they were like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Nothing, bitch.
Just
look busy."
business,
It's the only way around the bureaucracy. I've never written on my phone though. I was reading recently about someone on my mutuals list was talking about writing on their phone.
Mm-hmm.
And how they'd done it, I think, during a blackout, and they were surprised at how much they'd gotten done. I don't know if I could do that. I think I need like both hands in play. It's like a weird sort of body memory, muscle memory thing where when both my hands are on the keyboard, it like sends a message to my brain that goes, okay, you actually do kind of have to focus.
Yeah.
And you do kind of have to pay attention to what you're doing. But on my phone, I'm like, let's play a tapping game. Like, let's play a tapping game.
Pokemon, yeah!
Yes! Pokemon Go! And so I only want to use like one finger on my phone. So if I use one finger or even two fingers to type, I think I would just, in the back of my head, it'd be like, play a game.
Brain does not comprehend what's happening.
Yeah. I say that, but, I mean, it all comes down to motivation. I think that if I were fairly desperate to write something down or to write,
yeah,
I mean, you make it work. I mean, as you know, artists draw on napkins and coffee cups, and sometimes it's just sort of compelled. It's like, it's never when you actually have the time and you know what, there you go, you have a little napkin. Never when you actually have, like, the time and focus that you want, and you're like, I'm just going to get this 500 words done today, or that sketch done today. But every now and again, you're just, like, hit with this, I don't know, chemical storm in your brain. It's like, you're going to create something.
Yeah.
And then it just comes out of you in whatever way you can.
I was laying in bed the other night, and it was like 2 o'clock, and I was talking to this mutual, the one that we send Clark's songs back and forth, and we were just like losing our shit over like Maddie and Clark theories, and we were like, oh my god, what if it has like a flashback and it's, it's like I came up with this comic idea and it hit me, and I'm like laying there and I was like, I need to open my notes, I don't have my sketchbook, so like I've started using my notes on my phone, which I've never done in my life, and I just like smashed out this like little mini script, and it was like a screenplay.
Yeah, I used to. No, it's one of the things I love now is that any kind of typing on a laptop looks like productivity in like any kind of environment. I'm writing fic almost anywhere, and people are like, "Wow, you're so focused and studious." I'd be like, "Yes, bitch, I am." Work at school, yes, I am so attuned to what you are saying. I remember that. Again, this is back before, I'm dating myself, but this is back before people really took laptops to class. But I remember writing longhand fic in my notebook all through my Greek tragedy class in college. But I remember maybe like 2 lessons from that entire fucking semester. The rest of it, I was doing something else. But I looked really studious.
You looked like you were really into it.
I really did. I mean, even the professor was like, you're really focused. You're just taking notes all the time. I'm like, that's totally what it looks like, doesn't it?
That's exactly what I'm doing, Professor, yes. When I sit down and my desk is clean and my house is clean, another thing I have to have is like a coffee or a glass of water, or like,
yeah.
I know that in maybe an hour I'm going to have a snack and I'm going to have a piece of toast.
Yeah, I usually have to have something with caffeine in it, or water if I'm like, you had enough caffeine for the day. And then usually something to eat, just so I can't use it as an excuse to like not focus.
Yeah.
And also just something, I mean, it sounds like seedy to say it, but sometimes just like a little bit of oral fixation. I don't know. I just need something in my mouth sometimes, like ground me. I'm not really on the clean house thing though. Like my house can be an utter shambles. I'd be like, at least I got 500 words today.
So my brain just won't let me get to the point of, I'm going to sit down now, because it's like, there's something that needs to be done. Go and do it. It's more important than drawing. You're not going to get any reward from drawing. You need a clean house.
That's really good in the long run. I mean, I sometimes figure out that I'm blocked or unable to write because I'm not paying attention to like my basic surroundings.
Yeah.
Or, I'm wearing like literally the last pair of clean underwear in my possession. It's like this awareness of how rickety the supports of my adult life really are is actually undermining my ability to like do art. It's like, bitch, this was a medieval time, drowning, like literally starving and drowning.
You are ruined.
It's biological. My biological, like, reptile brain does not understand that I can live on like instant noodles for at least an extra week after I run out of groceries. So.
Can you though? Can you really? Because how many weeks has it been?
It will.
We all have, don't you worry.
No, I usually need, I'm always really, I like to have a caffeinated beverage a lot when I'm sitting down to write. But I'm really, really, really wary overall, and I include even caffeine in it. I'm really wary about developing habits like that, like eating something or drinking something, or even when I smoking something. which then, quote unquote, makes it easier, makes it better, makes it, I don't know, whatever, any more comfortable. Because I read a really good essay by a woman whose name I cannot pronounce, but she's a very popular American young adult author who talked about being careful about those habits. She was like, because eventually they will become, you will sort of, Pavlov yourself into believing that you need this thing in order to create your art. And she's like, listen, the worst part about breaking my habit of eating mini donuts while I wrote my manuscript was not actually the treadmill. It was giving up the fucking donuts eventually.
Yeah.
But this is interesting for me. I found out that I cannot write stoned and I cannot write when I'm not sober.
Interesting.
Yeah. All these popular text posts have misled me. They've been like, it's so much easier to write when you're drunk or stoned. And I tried to write White Queen Running once when I was accidentally stoned. It's a long story. I was accidentally high. I didn't know I was until it kicked in. And I realized that I'd written an entire sentence where every single word began with the same letter.
I don't know why that was so funny, but it was.
I was like, I really have to stop. This is not something, I will not be able to keep any of what I produced during this period.
Oh, God.
And even writing, I mean, I can, maybe if I'm a little buzzed, maybe I can get some writing done, but anything more than like one drink, or even when I have one, I really don't like writing when I'm not sober. I feel like I'm not, what's a good way to say it? Although I can sort of twist myself into knots if I'm not careful, I feel like one of my better instincts as a creative person or as an artist is that I second guess myself. And certainly that can lead to a lot of procrastination and self-doubt and a lot of bad things. But at least as a writer, I think that it's good to at least do it like one round of questioning your decisions. Like saying to yourself, is this really the most interesting idea? Is it really the most creative way you can do it? Or is it sort of knee-jerk and unthinking or taking it for granted that you've seen so many stories like this that now you're just recreating that?
Mm-hmm.
And so if I have, any kind of altered state, then I often don't go through that process.
Okay.
And what I produce, I often read over and go, this is really trite and cliche and bullshit. So I have to go over and do it again.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, every once in a while, I'll get really fucking sick and I'll be really high on cold meds. And I love writing during those times because I just don't give a shit. For me, it's probably not even like the chemical alteration of the meds. It's more like, both my nostrils are stuffed. I'm probably going to die. So I might as well write this shit.
Let's get it down.
Might as well make it official. I'm going to die anyway. Might as well die while finishing my work in progress. It goes to my head. I remember finishing the White Queen Running when I was it's so sick, so sick, and on so many rounds of cold meds, and it actually helped because that for me was a really sort of emotional. It's really emotional always to finish something for me. I think that would be an interesting difference because you are creating more or less self-contained pieces unless you do a comic.
Mm-hmm.
So for me to devote a long time to the same story, it's really hard for me sometimes to let go.
Mm-hmm.
I already know I'm going to be a sobbing fucking mess when I finish Destruction. I'm just going to be no one touch me for the next 10 days.
Does fan interaction also influence that? For people who are constantly reading your works, when you finish that story, I'm obviously going to be like, no, it's done. And then I'm going to message you and I'm going to be like, I can't believe it's over. Is that interaction with people constantly messaging you, being like, when's the new chapter going to come out? Oh my God, I can't believe you did this. Does that influence how you feel when you finish something as well?
Yeah.
Or are you thank God that's fucking done?
always glad that, like, no one's going to ask me anymore about updates. That's always a nice thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know, something I've realized about myself recently, because I took a break from writing Clexa after ClexaCon for a while, because, I don't know, it just, like, gave me so many emotions. Like, ClexaCon gave me so many emotions that I needed to take a break and write something for another pairing. And I realized, like, oh my god, I've been writing Clexa for 2 years straight. Like, no fucking wonder. I do get performance anxiety.
Okay.
Like, there's this, and it's not that I'm not ungrateful. I'm super incredibly grateful, because certainly you don't want to, like, create something and get no response. I mean, that's really, like, I'm sure you know, it's, like, devastating. I already knew I spent way too much time on this, like, thing that has no capital in the real, quote-unquote, real world.
Yeah.
To actually get no response, it really just confirms that I just wasted my time. I've noticed for myself, and I'm trying to work on it, I've noticed that I get, the more people who tell me that they're really emotionally, like, caught up in the stuff I'm doing, the more I sort of, like, get performance anxiety and, like, start to get really nervous and anxious and worry about, oh, am I going to give this what they, produce what they deserve, what the audience deserves, which is a really sort of self-defeating way of thinking about it. And I'm trying to circumvent it by writing ahead. By, like, writing a few chapters ahead. So it's like, even if people are like, oh, I can't wait for the next chapter when this thing happens, I'm thinking to myself, well, it isn't going to fucking happen. At least I'll already be, like, 2 chapters beyond that. So I'll be like, you guys can't even see where I am. You can't even get what I'm doing right now. So, yes, I'm already disappointed you, and I'm moving on beyond it. Like, so it's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm hoping. I've never been able to, like, give myself a grace period of, like, several chapters being ahead of several chapters and then keep it up. Because, like I said, my natural tendency is towards sloth and self-indulgence. And if I have, like, 2 chapters pre-written, I'm just like, I'm just going to take this week off. But I'm really annoyed at that, and I really want to, especially destruction, because destruction is just so long, and it's going to continue to be so long, that I really want to, like, develop some kind of schedule and just eat at it one bite at a time, so that I don't look at it and go, like, what the fuck? Like, how am I going to finish this?
Yeah.
That's something, I mean, do you ever have projects like that where they feel overwhelming?
All the time, like,
Yeah.
And it's so hard because nobody is giving you a deadline. Nobody's giving you anything except yourself. And the only person you're really letting down is yourself and your mind. It's like, I had a Patreon account and I was like, I know every month I have to upload, I have to scan all my stuff, upload it, and then just post it, and I know that it's done. But it's like, at the end of the month, I was like, fuck, I haven't given enough. I'm not worthy of these people. Why are they paying for my stuff? Like, I don't get it. And I'm like, and then it's late because I'm like, I need to quickly just draw like 10 more things just to get it in the package. And it's like, it's never enough. But I guess if you just take a step back, obviously people are appreciating what you're doing. Otherwise I wouldn't be there. But still, you're your own critic. And it's like, yeah, I had to stop Patreon after a little while. I want to start it up again in the next couple of months, but I'm like, what is going to be a reasonable thing for me to set for these, like, rewards? Because the last time I did it, it was like $5, you can have a sketch every month, and then $10, you get everything that I did for the month. $15 or $30 or something, you can have, like, your own line-arted commission, and then everything else that I get. And I had, like, 3 people that were paying, like, the $30 tie-up for a commission, and I was like, I don't want to do 3 commissions, why did I do this? Like, I don't want to draw this thing that you've asked me to draw. So, it's like, I think I'm just gonna lower my prices, and just, you get what you get at the end of the month, and not take on any extra, so.
Yeah. So you have, your projects that overwhelm you, and...
Yeah. Especially comics. I have all these ideas for, like, fan comics that I want to do, but I know that I start them and I never like the way they look. I never like the layout of how I write a comic. I'm like, I feel like it makes sense to me, but then I'm like, I haven't drawn enough frames. It looks weird. It looks scattered. My dialogue doesn't make sense. And so I'm like, I don't want to do that.
I'm like trying to, because it's so hard. Yeah, like I can know something mentally, but it's hard to like accept it on a fucking spiritual level or whatever. Is that I get very caught up in the fans who are, forgive me, but they are in fact entitled. Like they get angry if you don't update, or they get angry, etc. They just get angry that literally you should not get angry at people who are creating content for free. Like that's my only definition of entitled. Not people who are maybe upset at what you're creating and want to talk about it, but like who are literally like, how dare you not do this? And it's like, what? There's no like you are not. I'm not beholden to you in any particular way.
No.
So it's good for me to remember that those people are. They seem to loom large because they are vocal in their entitlement, but that literally most people, I would say the vocal people, are just doing exactly what they should be doing, which is just waiting patiently and not like making it a thing, just sitting back and being like, whenever you want to give us, whatever you can give us.
Yeah.
In the middle of a busy day.
But just know that I fucking want this right now.
I want it right now, but I'll be patient. I'll wait.
Yeah.
I have waited, honestly, I don't want to call anyone out in my current fandom, so I have to like cast back. I have waited years for updates for fix. I have, and I don't even regret it. I don't regret it.
Uh-huh.
Because you know what? It was worth it.
It's worth it when you get that email 2.5 years down the track saying, this fic is updated, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna fucking cry.
Yeah, and you're like, I have to read the whole bitch. Like, it's gonna be a weekend.
Uh-huh.
I'm excited. So what would be like a comparative thing for artists if you're not creating a comic? Is it like, do you find yourself not uploading and you get down on yourself for not having a regular schedule, or?
I feel like it affected me more when I was like in different fandoms, like not so much Clexa and Karasami were like my most two recent ones, but I was really big into Glee, and I was a huge Tegan and Sarah nerd, and I was writing this comic / fanfic dual side by side thing with another person. And we'd post like little updates, and then it would be like people were like, when is it going to come out? Like, what's going to happen? And it just made me like go, I don't want to do it anymore. Yeah. And I never finished it, and I never will, because it was too much.
Yeah.
But I also like, I feel like I don't post enough stuff, and it's like the only way you're gonna, and it all relates back to, I want more followers, I want more interaction with people, I want to be able to make money off my art and blah blah blah. But also, the more you do it, you're like, I'm just doing this for other people, and I'm not doing it for myself anymore. And I should be doing it for myself. I shouldn't be doing it for gain. I should just be doing it for fun. And if people come, then they want to come, and that's what it should be about. But then it's all like, just give me the followers. Like, I want the content. I want to make money or whatever. But no, I have to keep taking a step back and just being like, no, I'm just doing this for fun, and people who want to join me are with me, and that's what I want to be like. That's what I want to be like. So. Yeah, but it feels slow sometimes. And I'm like, I need to post more.
Yeah, it is really easy to get sort of caught in the reaction to whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
And you just reorient yourself every now and again and being like, nope, I'm not doing it for that. Although, actually, what was it? I was reading the other day, this is a while ago, but I was reading this really good description of why perfectionism is so harmful.
Mm.
And it talks about how if you're a perfectionist, sometimes you not even notice that what you're doing is saying to yourself, well, I have to improve with each thing I put out.
Mm.
So each thing I put out, it has to get a bigger response or a better response than what came before, or I've failed, or I've done worse, or fallen backward, or regressed, or whatever. And I was totally doing that. I didn't realize it until later, and I was like, oh, that's a fucked up
me.
Think about. Yeah. It's very harmful because you always want to grow, but you can't respond from other people as a sign of growth.
Yeah.
It'd be really nice if we could have some kind of outside barometer of growth, though. Just figure out whatever the fuck it could be.
It would be very nice.
You're coloring.
I am. I have been colouring for a little bit.
I'm actually really jealous of people who are watching this in final edited form because they get to watch you draw. I do not.
You
I just
don't.
want to inform all of the followers. And
You get to
watchers out
watch
there.
like me looking down and listening,
I
but
do. You get to watch the top of your head. It's really fascinating.
Thanks for listening. The next update will be up in about a week or so. For the meantime, you can head over to my Instagram and Twitter for more updates.